assesses operations of plastic recycling plants in Kampala. 13 arrested, charged and remanded over embezzlement of PDM funds. And in sports, more fans win trips to watch the English Premier League live in the Guinness Match Day extravaganza. Welcome back. Now, members of Parliament on the Committee of Environment and Natural Resources have expressed the need for government to come up with a proper regulation on the percentage of local plastic material recycled and then imported. While on an oversight tour to different recycling plants, the committee discovered that the percentage of imported materials is more than the local picked from the environment. Let's begin with this story.
Members of Parliament on the Committee of Environment and Natural Resources have had an oversight tour to assess the operations of plastic recycling plants in Kampala and the neighbouring districts. They were assessing compliance to the National Environment Management Act in aspects of recycling and labelling and standards, among others. During their tour, they discovered that the plants do recycle local plastic picked from the environment, but also use imported materials, explaining that if kavera or plastic paper bags are banned, then these factories are doomed.
Now our role is to find out what is the percentage of recycling and what is the percentage of the materials they import in the country.
We need to get the cost-benefit analysis, which one is cheaper? Because to me, what I've seen, how the raw materials from our recycled plastics are not used in bigger quantities.
Because we see in some of the industries, they're importing the materials. And in some places, they have basically recycled materials. And yet we are saying we want to reduce on the plastics. So I think there is need for us as a country to have a win-win. What do we have to do? To recycle or to import?
Members of Parliament say although the law provides a tax waiver for these plants to encourage recycling of plastic to protect the environment, this has not been effected.
Parliament say, how do we are able to go around the law and see what can be waived by government? Because the Ministry of Finance went ahead and levied 120%, as I told you, which is on plastic bags. And this is very expensive, so it's like they are not breaking even.
No company is waived the taxes of recycling. So they are not motivated to recycle at all.
Really, a total ban. We can use this raw material to make other product. Which in the course of that, there's income for revenue, there's employment.
The Executive Director, Uganda Plastic Manufacturers and Recyclers Association, Moses Ategeka, calls on the public and authorities responsible for cities to support solid waste management, especially sorting garbage.
Some recyclers are operating at low capacity. You may find a machine is supposed to recycle more than 10 tons, but they are receiving more than 5 tons. So we need to encourage those people who say they don't have the jobs to pick and bring and get instant payment.
The MPs visited Pipeline Foam Industries Kabanyoro, Windworld Impex in Kawanda, Luka Plastics in Kawempe and other recycling plants, and will make a report on its findings. I'm Nafka Farid and Gloria Gweta Benji.
Now, Uganda Police Force has disclosed the preliminary investigations into the misappropriation of the Parish Development Model (PDM) funds, which prompted the arrest of local council officials in Moroto, Serere and Amudat districts. The arrests follow a presidential directive to the police force to take immediate action following numerous complaints from the would-be beneficiaries of the PDM.
The arrest of the 13 local council officials from Moroto, Serere and Amudat districts follows a directive by the President to the police to take action upon complaints from beneficiaries of the Parish Development Model Funds.
And those are Mr. Erurusam, the LC3 chairperson of Kadungulu sub-county. Police also apprehended Mr. Okong Jane Smile. That then it also apprehended Mr. Oima John Michael, It also apprehended Mr. Ogwang James, the parish chief of Kabulara Parish.
Some of the parish chiefs are accused of bribery and soliciting for money in order to include locals on the PDM list.
Money was paid, and those members got surprised to see their names on lists of beneficiaries, yet they never received any money. Some people and their wives got money, yet money was meant for one person per household. There was also a civil servant who benefited from the fund, whereas he was not entitled.
The suspects have been arraigned in court and remanded. They will answer to charges of bribery and misuse of public office. Meanwhile, police in Old Kampala are holding a one Otim Charles, a security guard with G4S security services, for robbing a bullion van that was transporting cash. It's alleged that Otim and his partner in crime, who is on the run, made away with over 1 billion shillings in cash.
Along the way, abandoned the vehicle, their 2 guns, and the vehicle, and fled with cash. An investigation started right away with the aim of recovering the cash and also arresting the suspects, and so far we managed to recover 117 million with Otim Charles.
Police also arrested over 20 individuals for the growing and consumption of marijuana in the western region of the country. After the successful crackdown, the police sounded an alarm of increased drug abuse in the country, calling for the public to help curb the vice by reporting the perpetrators.
As soon as these young men and women consume this marijuana, they attack neighborhoods, attack people moving along their ways, they attack people going to their workstations, they injure them. There are people having very, very, very serious injuries as a result of people who essentially consume these illegal substances.
Meanwhile, police have called upon parents and guardians to ensure their children who are returning home for a lengthy third-term holidays are safe. Komagum Rogers and Abdul Nasir Luwama for UBC.
Uganda National Examinations Board, UNEB, has contracted examiners to commence the marking of the just concluded primary leaving examinations. The UNEB spokesperson Jennifer Kalule indicated that the marking centers have been scaled down from the usual 20 to 13.
The marking of the primary leaving examination is to start on 30th of November 2024, and examiners that have not yet received their notice are advised to check with the UNEB Secretariat.
We shall be conducting the examination, the marking of the examination from 14 centers, that is for PLE, and we do have a total of 7,500 examiners who have been contracted to undertake the marking for PLE examination papers. Just in case there are any who have not yet received their invitations, we do urge them to come to the Secretariat and receive their invitations. Otherwise, we do expect all of them to have received their invitations.
UNEB emphasizes that candidates whose practical grading scores have not yet been submitted should cross-check with their respective schools to hand in the assessments.
So I'm expecting that all of them must have submitted all their scores. But just in case there is a school which hasn't submitted, we ask them to please come to us and we shall be able to receive their scores. In the same vein, the senior 3 candidates also had to submit their the schools had to submit scores for senior 3 students. That is the CS scores at that level. The deadline was 15th of November.
Meanwhile, police arrested the head teacher of Chitende Senior Secondary School for allegedly participating in examination malpractice.
We did arrest the head teacher of Chitende SS on allegation of damaging an examination envelope that was found cut at the top. This was for the sub-math examination papers. The suspect, one Sembatia Jimmy, was detained and later released on police bond as investigations continue.
This is the first set of examinations under the new lower secondary curriculum, where continuous assessments contribute 20% of the total marks. Komagum Rogers and Musima Promise for UBC.
Now, officials from the Ministry of Justice and Constitutional Affairs and the Judiciary have said that they have reduced the case backlog of court cases to 25.03%. Currently, courts complete most cases within 6 months. This was revealed by Mr. Pius Vigirimana, the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Justice and the Judiciary, during the Manifesto Week presentation.
The Ministry of Justice has registered outstanding achievements, such as installing video conferencing in courts, which quickens court hearing processes, among others.
For those who may not know, video conferencing system enables courts to hear cases online, and the suspect or convict doesn't have to come to court physically. Of course, this has got many advantages because the time it takes to bring the prisoners and the risks involved and the money involved is reduced by having these video conferencing facilities in the courts and prisons.
However, limited budgetary provision has affected the ability of the ministry to achieve the number of set targets, says Pius Bigirimana, the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Justice and Constitutional Affairs.
It's done inadequate manpower. The numbers of judicial officers are still insufficient to match the justice demands. In addition, the number of administrative staff have not been increased to match the judicial officers, which has negatively affected judicial justice delivery. You can imagine, as I was presenting, 31% of the approved structure is filled. So how about the other 69? And you fill it. You find a judge is there, he has no secretary, he has no process server, has no court clerk.
One of the issues that has been an impediment for us in resolving land matters particularly has been the issue of pecuniary jurisdiction. This is particularly in view of the magistrates' courts, which are spread out across the country but have been having a limited jurisdiction. What do I mean by pecuniary? I mean the value of the subject matter. Chair, a chief magistrate in this country currently tries a land matter which is up to the value of 50 million shillings. And a grade 1 tries matters up to 20 million shillings. So knowing the value of land, if you scan through Kampala or metropolitan Kampala, you're not going to find many cases in this value because land has highly appreciated across this country.
The ministry recommends the government to scale up its budget from the current 392 billion to at least 800 billion in the 2025-2026 financial year. Winnie Ainembabas Katwire and Dan Lugemwa for UBC.
Now, Uganda Bureau of Statistics is set to undertake a disability functional survey to harmonize the 2024 census results for persons with disabilities. This was revealed by Helen Asamo, the Minister of State for Persons with Disabilities, at a media briefing in Kampala ahead of next week's International Day of Persons with Disabilities. Take a watch.
And after here, she'll be heading to...
The Disability Functional Difficulties Survey is intended to identify numbers of the 8 disability categories. The initiative is aimed at promoting inclusivity of persons with disabilities.
So what they were reporting was not the same with ours. That's why we have requested them to carry out a special UBOS assessment on people with disabilities, looking at the different functionalities. Because our request as a ministry is to know how many people are physical, how many are deaf, how many are blind, how many are whatever. Because you can't think disabled people can be put into one group. So those results, as we all know, UBOS has promised to give a final statement in December.
Helen Asamo, the Minister of State for Disability Affairs, highlighted government's efforts geared at improving education, health and access to information for persons with disabilities.
The government has been allocating to the Ministry of Education and Sports about 3,670,340,396 shillings for both recurrent and development fund for special needs education interventions. Persons with disabilities receive 30 million per constituency as a special fund for the MIOGA of persons with disabilities. So the 30 million times the number of of constituencies gives you the amount, and this also has gone in for, I think now we are in the third year.
Despite these efforts, persons with disabilities in Uganda still face high-level poverty and inequality, which has prompted government to undertake policy reforms.
Ministry of Health staffing structure now caters for sign language interpreters up to Health Center 3. To enhance medical rehabilitation, surgeries for children with disabling conditions have been expanded from Mulago to include at all regional referral hospitals. Government plans to increase the number of learners with disabilities supported at the university and tertiary level to 320 for this sponsorship.
Uganda will join the rest of the world to commemorate the International Day of Persons with Disabilities on the 3rd of December in Kumi District. The event will be held on the theme, Improved Household Income for Persons with Disabilities. Cayenne Faith, Regan Ahomuza for UBC.
We'll now take a short break and return with much more. Do stay with us.
Winning requires the stamina of a lion. But most important today, it requires that you carry that water up the top of the hill. However, you must use a spoon. Take the water now. Go, run, climb up the hill. 72 spoons. Faster, go, go. Winning is hard, but with MTN Momo, it's easy. Simply pay or shop with Momo for a chance to win mobile money every day. Use the Momo app or dial *165*3#.
Uncle Mo.
Asivi kocha tukwasi.
Vayo na wasajja batusonyiye.
Chikakasi.
Vayo.
Government has done it. Uganda Revenue Authority has taken you off the burden of paying interests and penalties. All you have to do is to pay your outstanding principal tax to benefit from the waiver of interests and penalties that runs till the end of December 2024. Call us on our toll-free line or email services@ura.go.ug.
Uganda Revenue Authority, developing Uganda together.
You used to tell me that I don't make you happy. All that time you would be complaining. I'll call you every day, yeah yo, baby.
You can now get all the Chibuzi out with MTN voice bundles. Call all networks. Kubei Dondoro. Buy a 25-minute voice bundle for only 1,000 or buy any daily voice bundle of your choice. Dial *100*21# and select daily or use the My MTN app. When we talk together, we are unstoppable.
In the heart of Uganda, a financial revolution is happening. We were once left out, saving the old-fashioned way, with an unexpected savings pot, keeping it too close for comfort. But now, we found a better way to save and manage money. Download the Wendy app from Google Play or App Store or dial *229#. With Wendy, your money is safe and you can earn interest daily. Visit your Google Play or App Store or dial *229# to register. Wendy Wanawoli.
There is myths that so many of you live by. If your eye is twitching, it means you're going to see someone you like. If it shines and rains at the same time, it means a leopard is giving birth. If your hand is itching, it means you're going to get money. If you see an owl, it means somebody's gonna die. If you hear of a disease outbreak, you just know it is in a village district at the border next to some suspicious country. You will want to scratch that last myth, because Mpox is in 19 districts and Kampala is among with dozens of cases. Please stop going around checking anyone's hand. Mpox kills. Protect your loved ones.
The Homes and Construction Expo is back. Are you looking for answers to your property and real estate development questions? Come and interact with experts in the industry, including architects, engineers, developers, interior designers, financiers, and more from 30th November to 1st December 2024. The expo will be at the Millennium Park, opposite Philip Omondi Stadium, under the theme Affordable Housing, Innovations and Technology. There will be captivating exhibitions and insightful discussions daily. Entrance is only 10,000 shillings per day. To book a stall, contact 0772 354 940. The Homes and Construction Expo is brought to you by New Vision.
In a nation hungry for truth, a world where every story matters, there exists a beacon of trust and reliability. For decades, they've been our voice and our window to the world, holding the mirror of our history. With 4 TV stations and 11 radio channels spanning 27 languages, they stand as guardians of information, defenders of truth. With Mascari Heritage Advantage, they uphold every citizen's right to reliable and free information. Their archived stories shaped our past and illuminate our present. Yet now, as new challenges arise and the world evolves, their mission faces its greatest test yet. Be part of our journey and let's navigate the unknown, uncover the untold, and safeguard our future together. Tune into your public broadcaster, for it is the intersection of trust and truth. Because to UBC, your story, every story, and every voice matters. UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Welcome back from that break, and this is News Tonight here on UBC TV. Let's have a look now at business news, and we're looking at the Forex news to see how the shilling fared today against the following selected local and international currencies in our money market report.
Brought to you by... Download the Wendy app from Google Play or App Store or dial *229#. Wendy Wanawoli.
The Ministry of Health informs the general public that there are some cases of Mpox detected in Uganda. The ministry, working with partners and affected district local governments, are doing their best to contain the situation. The signs and symptoms of Mpox are body rash, fever, general body weakness, headache, sore throat, nasal congestion or cough, and swollen lymph nodes. You can prevent yourself from getting infected with Mpox by avoiding close contact with people who have been confirmed to have Mpox or who have signs and symptoms of Mpox, avoiding touching or sharing personal items like beddings, eating utensils, phones, or other belongings of a person who has the signs and symptoms of Mpox, avoiding contact, including eating, with all wild animals, alive or dead, especially those known to carry the virus, such as rodents and monkeys, and those that appear sick or have been found dead. Getting vaccinated if you're among those who have been identified to be at high risk of Mpox infection. Mpox is treatable and usually goes away after 2 to 4 weeks. However, it can be severe, causing even death, especially among children, pregnant women, and those with other health conditions. For more information and support, contact your nearest health worker. Call the Ministry of Health's toll-free line on 0800 100 066 or send a free SMS to your report on 8500.
And we've almost come to the end of this bulletin, but before we leave you, let's have a recap of our top stories. In our top stories tonight, President Yoweri Museveni orders compensation of Lieutenant General Arunda's widow. Environment and Natural Resources Committee of Parliament assesses operations of plastic recycling plants in Kampala. 13 arrested, charged and remanded over embezzlement of PDM funds. And in sports, more fans win trips to watch the Premier League live in the Guinness Match Day extravaganza, that is in the English Premier League. And that's all we had time for. Thank you so much for having kept us company on sign language. It has been Yusuf Senyemo, and I'm Rukidi Edward, wishing you a blessed night. But up next here on UBC TV is the French bench with Jerome Sonko, and tonight they are going to be looking at KCCA. We expect officials from Kampala, the Ministry of Kampala and Metropolitan Affairs, to be in the studio to give them to talk to you about what is happening in their ministry.
UBC, inspiring Uganda.